Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Variety Talk Show Series. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Hope you guys are doing well. Those in the United States, hope you had a fantastic Independence Day holiday weekend, 4th of July holiday weekend. We had a fabulous time with family and friends, and hope you did as well. You see our special guest on your screen there coming to us from Southern New England as well. She's coming to us from Bristol, Rhode Island. She's acclaimed author and screenwriter Barbara Grace English joining us from Rhode Island. And she's all excited because she has penned some really fabulous books as an award-winning author and screenwriter, and some plays as well, too. Barbara Grace English, Love Letters in the Sand, and also the one you see on the screen there that says man and wife. We're going to tell you more about that in just a second. There is that one. Yes. I now pronounce you man and wife. That is one of the newest, along with Love Letters in the Sand. She's a prolific writer. She's been doing it for over 30 plus years. And it's my pleasure to welcome her to the Jim Masters Show Live. And gang, if you would like to comment while the show is live, you can do it in our JMS Live chat room, which is open and available right now. And our viewers, our lovely viewers from around the world, are commenting already. We'll take a look at some of those, sprinkle some in throughout the show. Don't forget, if you'd like to support the show to help us along with all this content, over 700 episodes we have done in just 2 years' time, feel free to do a super emoji, super stickers, or maybe you're down to do super thanks. You can do that as well. That's a little heart icon. And don't forget to subscribe to the show if you would like to have an opportunity to chat live, or you just want to be a part of our lovely family here. Subscribe. There's a red sort of rectangular button there that says subscribe on our YouTube channel. Click that and you'll be a subscriber. There's no cost for that. And make sure you click the notification bell so you never miss any of our fabulous episodes. Barbara, so great to have you here. Welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. So did you have a good holiday weekend?
I did. I did.
It
was one of those chill out. You know, we have the oldest parade in history in Bristol, Rhode Island.
Yes.
It's like 200 years, something like that. And it's televised. So that was long.
Was it televised on one of the local channels?
It was televised on the computer on Thursday.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's fantastic. So tell us about your incredible background as an author, a writer, prolific writer, and also a screenwriter. I mentioned over 30 years you've been doing it, probably even longer than that. What inspired you to do it, to really put pen to paper and start telling these incredible stories? Tell us about your inspirations first. Maybe even as a young girl in school, were you always writing short stories? Were you always creating?
I think I always had it in me. I just, I now pronounce you man and wife was based on an experience that I had in a marriage, and as scary as it is, but that's where that came from.
This one here that we're showing on the screen. Yeah. Now tell us about this one. So was this the first one for you?
Yes.
So this was the first one, and I have a copy of it. You were gracious to send me a copy, and it really is riveting. Tell us about it, a little bit about it, so viewers can get familiar with this particular book. And congratulations on it.
Thank you. It's basically this person who is really myself, right? And you meet somebody and you think they're like perfect, and they present themselves as this perfect individual, and you find out later that he's far from perfect and that he has all these other lives.
Sort of hidden lives that you weren't aware of, almost sort of like a movie of the week, or like a Lifetime movie, huh?
Yeah, it had been optioned at one time, and I don't know why it didn't work out, but it didn't work out. But it
Now,
had been optioned.
yeah, explain that for our viewers who might not. I'm familiar with it myself, but for anybody watching who's not sure, when you say when it was optioned, tell us what that means.
Okay, somebody, an actress, had optioned it to play the lead role in it. And for some reason, you know how this goes, it didn't work out. But yeah, so I wrote the book deliberately so that somebody would pick up the story and tell it, because it's an important story for women.
So tell us a little bit about it. Why is it important for women?
I think that a lot of women get caught up in the idea of falling in love and having the picket fence, but they don't look at the master plan of it all. And a lot of women get hurt with this same type of individual.
Ah, so that happened to you?
Yeah,
This
he
is
ended up having 5 wives, and I didn't know. I had no
your
idea.
husband ended up having 5 wives?
Yeah, he was a bigamist. He was abusive, and the perfect person for the first 4 years of our life, and our marriage. And all of a sudden things started appearing, coming out, that put antennas up on me, that this person isn't what he's supposed to be.
The bill of goods didn't match.
No,
Yeah, the
no.
presentation didn't match. So you, when did you catch on? I mean, how far along was it
I
when you
was
find?
pretty much 4 to 5 years into the marriage. We had 2 children, and he spent every weekend with us. He traveled with his job, and he 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 was there.
Mm,
Holidays, the weekends, who knew, you know?
yeah, right, exactly. Wow. So
And
what
go ahead.
what were the signs? What were you noticing? Was he not home, not around, had to go places, fly off here and there to make
No,
sure that the other wives were attended to?
he
You know,
he
I'm
he
going golfing again this weekend. Yeah, but I thought, honey, you hated golf.
no, he traveled with his business. And so the times that he was away usually ranged from Monday to Thursday, sometimes
Ah,
Monday to Wednesday. And I guess I got the best, right?
yeah, you got the better days, I guess, huh?
Holidays. But yeah, what put the big antenna up, he told me that his family passed, that his parents were dead, his brother was just a mess, and his son died. So in other words, he was alone in the world. And all of a sudden, a postcard came in the mail from his parents, and he was away at the time, and I got it. So I'm like,
And
somebody's playing a joke on him, and I got upset for him.
mm,
But I investigated before he came home.
mm, wow, that's yeah. You did a little. Did you hire an investigator? Did you?
No, I did it all
You
myself.
did it all yourself?
I'm great at it, by the way.
Yeah.
I had become very good at it, um, because I had to.
You grew up watching Sherlock Holmes, didn't you?
I know, right?
I was
Right.
going to say. So then that had to be heartbreaking. Here you are, there's children involved, there's a marriage,
Yeah,
your family is aware of it, your friends, your colleagues, everybody's rooting and happy that there's this marriage, the kids themselves too.
yeah.
I now pronounce you man and wife as the book gang. Um, what was your initial reaction when you heard that this man you married, have children with, a home, 4 or 5 years into this, has all these other wives? He's not the person that he
Well, it took
said.
a while for me to find the wives.
Did you
I
did you let on right away that you knew? I mean, when he got back from his trip, did you say, "Guess what I found out? I got this letter from your parents." Did you call the parents? Did you?
I had called them before he came home.
And what was their reaction? What'd they say? Did they
They
defend him, or were they
uh,
shocked?
they weren't shocked. They obviously knew that he had done this and let him get away with it. Aided him. There were
Did.
times where they actually aided him.
So were they out for money?
No,
What would
no.
be the benefit to aid your son who's doing this to unsuspecting women, marrying them, having children? I mean,
I think they had the mindset that they could do no wrong. The whole family
that
could do no
everybody was perfect and our kids don't do those things, and that wouldn't be him, and you're lying, and all that other mumbo
Yeah.
jumbo. Huh? So
There was one time they visited, and after this, I wanted to meet them, so I had them come.
were they
And
from Rhode Island as well, or somewhere
no,
else?
they were somewhere else from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, yeah.
Yeah, and so I invited them, and that's when the violence started because he did not want them to come. He said, I don't want them here. They're going to cause nothing but trouble, which they were that kind of people. They're deceased now, but they were definitely out to cause trouble. And when they came, the mother sat me down and said, do you worry about him since he's on the road a lot? And I said, no, he's always been worried about what I'm doing back there.
You're up to, yes.
Yeah. And so I felt like I brought it up to him and I said, I feel like she was goading me.
It sort of sounds like that, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So it was very intense. This had gone on, and as secrets started surfacing, I researched them. I investigated everything. So, and then when he realized I was catching him,
yeah,
he disappeared.
He disappeared?
Yeah, he went away on a business trip, supposedly, on July 4th and never was heard from again. But I managed to find out where he was.
How old were the kids during all this? Were the kids aware? I mean,
when he disappeared, 9 or 10, 9 and 10.
And when it was revealed that he wasn't the person that, I mean, did you tell them at 9 and 10 there were other wives and all this other stuff, or no? Wait,
No,
they're 9, they're 10. It would devastate them. Yeah.
They just knew that he left and was never heard from again.
How did they handle it? The kids?
They were scared, and they had reason to be because all they had was me. And at that time,
Any other family in the area there?
No.
So you had moved to Rhode Island
at the time.
Florida?
Yeah.
So you moved north to the northeast to Rhode Island.
Well, then what I did was my family was in Georgia and my friends. So a friend of mine actually found a place for us to move to. And I just held an estate sale and went back.
Yeah.
So it's scary. It's scary. And a lot of women are in this situation where all of a sudden they're by themselves raising kids. And it's scary. It's
what What was the emotion that was the most prevalent, most dominant for you? Was it fear of what do we do next? Was it fear of him? Was it the disappointment, the heartbreak, anger that you were misled, or all of the above? Were you weaving in and out of all these emotions at the same time?
Yeah, I looked at my children and felt scared for them because I didn't know what to do. I felt lost and I had to react. And when you have kids, you have to react to immediately. And I was like blown away by everything because he cleaned out every dime out of the accounts. He didn't leave us. Even the kids had funds, like accounts that they
put away for them,
and Valentine's Day they would save all their money. He took that. Yeah.
It's a tough story, isn't it? Yeah, it's a tough. I mean, how have you been able to deal with it? Was writing the book a cathartic experience, a release for you, therapeutic? And were you at all afraid or resistant at first to write the book? Because the book, you use, other names. It's characters in the book. It isn't you depicting necessarily your own story with there's fiction, but yet sort of based on real life events.
I tried to press charges on him, and I found out where he was through crazy circumstances, but I found out where he was. I rode there, and it was in Tennessee. I drove to Tennessee with my daughter, and he was living in a great house with a brand new Corvette in the driveway, the usual scenario. And I had not received one dime of child support ever. And I did take him to court. They did set an amount. I just never got it. So I went to Tennessee and went to the child support recovery there, and they said, well, we could do something. First, they told me they couldn't do something, that I needed to go through my home state. And I said, well, they're telling me I have to go to you. So she said, no, we can't do anything for you. And so I had taken pictures of the house and the Corvette. And I said, well, you can either do something for me, or I can go to the papers with the roll of film I have of his brand new house and his brand new Corvette. And then you can explain to the public why you can't do anything. I'm telling you where he is.
Yeah. And what was the response to that?
She said, okay, that I'll do it, but I'll do it, but he'll run. She said it had been her experience that they run. And I had gotten him fired from 5 jobs because I spoke to him first, gave him a chance to take care of his children, and he refused. So I would call the manager or his boss and tell them what he has working for him.
Yeah. So when you decided to write the book, what was it like? What was that writing process like for you when you started writing I Now Pronounce You Man and Wife?
I think it healed me. I think that it helped me heal. And it was great therapy. And it turned out to be a story that people were interested in. A matter of fact, my story changed the law in Georgia because they had a law where whenever they went to domestic disputes, nobody was taken out, but they changed the law that when they go to a domestic dispute, they have to remove somebody from the house. So now called me and said, could we take your case to the legislature? I said, hey, go.
Go with it, run with it.
Yeah. Because I knew so many women that were in this situation.
So when you were writing the book itself, or even before that, had you always been a writer? Like I was saying, when you were a young girl, were you always writing and doodling and creating short stories and creating things as a kid too?
I liked it. I loved writing essays for school. And, when we had book reports, I loved it. And even in college, I enjoyed the writing part of it and did very well. So but then I ended up taking a screenwriting course, and the instructor called me one day and said, you had to write a screenplay from beginning to end to pass the course. And I wrote Love Letters in the Sand, the screenplay.
Yeah, you've written actually several screenplays, and one of them is Love Letters in the Sand, and that was the winner of the 74th Writers Digest competition out of 18,000 entries. Congratulations. Tell us about that, because that is also it's a screenplay, but it's also the book.
A
book as well. So you got the screenplay and the book. Congratulations on it. Tell us about Love Letters in the Sand.
So I wrote Love Letters in the Sand as my screenplay, and the instructor called me one day and he said him and his partner would like to option it when I finished the class. And I was thinking, wow, they were going to, I guess, rewrite it, do whatever. And so I felt, wow, I must have something here,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, and Love Letters has done very well as far as coverage, and actors and actresses were interested in it. So I feel it did well, and the screenplay is available. I wrote it, I finished it, and it's a beautiful story.
Tell us a little bit about it. Yeah, for the folks that they either want to get the book or they look forward to hopefully something happening with the screenplay. Congratulations again.
I worked at a rehab center, and there was this person that the time I had worked there, I never met, but he had been in the center 75 times. He was an alcoholic that lived in the woods for 35 years. And so he was court ordered to come to the center because he had pneumonia. And they figured this is the easy way out for them. Just dump him in the center, I guess.
Just dump him in the center, right? Yeah.
So at least he'd be taken care of. There was medical staff, and, so when it came time for him to be discharged, I worried about him going back in the woods because he died. He wasn't fully recovered. So
he wasn't probably a woods type person either.
Who, him?
Yeah. Somebody who
He lived
maybe
there for 35
did
years.
in the woods?
Yes.
Wow, so he was able to adapt and made a life out of it.
Oh, he's been through
That's
hurricanes,
amazing, huh?
just
He could write
beatings.
a book.
So, what happened was I was worried about him going back in the woods. So I went to the minister of my church and asked him if he could live in an empty room that was downstairs. And finally, it was kind of hairy for a while convincing him to do that, but
Imagine, yeah.
he did it because he had to face the board and just people who didn't like the fact that an alcoholic was living in the church.
Mm,
But
yeah.
it's a really warm story about the adjustment that he made living in society again, because he hadn't lived in society for 35 years.
That's a
And
long time.
yeah, he learned a lot, and we learned a lot from him.
Do you have the book with you? Did you want to share a passage or anything from either of the books for the
Well,
audience to get a feel for it?
do you want me to?
Oh, yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
have it in front of me. I'm looking for it now.
Do you have either one with you?
Yeah, I now pronounce you man and wife.
Yeah, you can share whichever one you want to share. Absolutely.
You know what I find important, a statement that I made in this book, and it's very important for all women, and I even have a plaque of it by my window. But the thing that I said was, nobody's happiness should cost you your own. And I think a lot of women, they don't do that. Oh, I have that. Thank you. I have it. My daughter was handing me. I
Oh,
know.
that was nice of her to do that.
She's my little blessing. This one.
Now,
She.
what if she was bringing in a nice cupcake? Would you have
Yeah.
taken that? I think I would have taken. Yeah. I don't have that. I'll take that now.
Floor for that.
She's your assistant, and she was thinking
Yes,
maybe you don't have the books with you to show, or that's kind of her.
Yeah.
How is
I
she
told
doing? How are the kids doing?
She is my little adoptee. She
Beautiful.
came to live with me when she was a teenager,
Oh, beautiful.
and she's mine now.
Yes.
Possession is 9 points of the law, and I
Right.
have longer. So
And this is the best kind, right? Exactly.
I tell her she's my gift from God.
Beautiful. What a
Yeah.
wonderful thing for a mom to say to a child, huh?
Oh, and she is. She's
Hmm.
just an incredible human being.
How are your other two kids?
Okay, they survived.
That's good.
That's all I can say. They
Are
have
you still
some-
close with them, or?
Yeah, I'm my daughter. I speak to her several times a day, and
Did
then I have
either one go with the father at all?
no. He's deceased,
Oh, he is. Yeah.
but even if he weren't, they wouldn't go.
They would. Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
I would carry on, and they wouldn't want to go anyway. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And that's good that everything is sort of settled in whatever way it can be through the circumstances of it all. Yeah. Share a passage from that. That would be great.
From what
You have both with you, or?
I have to get love letters. If you want to give me a second.
Yeah. Or would you want her to get it for you?
Oh,
She could probably bring it in.
Emmy, could you come here a sec?
And you want Love Letters in the Sand, right? That's the one you want?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know where it is on my shelf. Let me see if she comes.
Yeah, maybe she'll. But while she's doing that, maybe you can share a little bit from this one.
Which from
A Man and the Woman.
I think I don't know what to pick to read from it. Um, I think that it's hi.
I have this one.
No, can you get Love Letters in the Sand off the shelf for me?
I'll get it for you. Just wait.
Okay, she'll get it in a minute.
Was she going to crawl on the floor so she doesn't get seen?
I think she feels she's not properly dressed. Oh goodness. Yeah. It's like, come
You
in.
gotta laugh, right? You come in, get me the book. I'm still in my pajamas. My hair's not done.
I know. Well, she always looks beautiful,
I'm sure she does. Yeah.
no matter what. So,
There she comes. Yeah. And we thank her very much for doing that.
it's almost like,
You'll have to give her a raise as your production assistant. And if she's union, get ready to pay a lot. Thank you. She did that very well. She did that kind of like Queen Elizabeth.
I know.
The wave, sort
I
of
know.
the wave.
I'm English.
Very,
and
very regal.
yeah, I taught her, right?
She'll be happy to know we saw nothing but a left hand. That's all we saw. Whose left hand it was, we don't know.
And there's nothing on it.
That's just a left hand that flew
To
through the
know
air.
there's nothing on her left hand.
Oh, as a mother, I could see you're saying.
Yeah. So I don't
So
know.
maybe you can read a little bit, just a little passage from each, which would be kind of nice, each book. A little bit,
Okay.
whatever comes to
I
mind
just-
for you that you think
I
the viewers would like to hear.
okay.
And everybody's saying congratulations as well, Barbara, on the book and everything. They're all wishing you well. And I know they're going to run out and get the books too. They're good with that. Yeah. They love the audience.
Yeah, they're really nice to do that.
Yeah.
This
So this is, I now pronounce you man and wife.
is
Love Letters from the Sand.
the one
And
she went and got off the shelf was
Oh,
Little
good.
Stick in the Sand. I have one copy of it. And so it's a little hard to.
Who did the artwork? Who did the covers of the
Well,
books?
the publisher did, and I thought they did a good job. The publisher is no longer in business. Of course.
I was going to say.
Yeah. But they did a good job, I think.
They did a nice, they did a nice job. Did they do both books?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And this is the funny part. It wasn't
They did a nice job on both books. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think that is? A spider web or broken glass? On I Now Pronounce You Man and Wife. I think
I think it's like shattered glass, like it's a shattered dreams, shattered relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's shattered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you say, all the hopes, the dreams, the person seemed perfect. Everything was going well. And then the marriage, the relationship, the hopes and dreams are shattered. So I think that's like shattered.
Really about the whole thing was I did not want to get married. And he kind of gave me an ultimatum about it because he was coming to Georgia. He was in France on a trip for 2 weeks. And he was meeting me in Georgia. And he said to me, either you agree to get married or we're going to be done. And so I said, well, call me from France or England when you land there and we'll talk about it. So he called me from England.
Or take me to France and marry me on the Eiffel Tower. You know,
Paris.
marry me in front of Buckingham Palace or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right. So he called and I really it was one of those moments where well, do I dive off the cliff or do I stay where I'm comfortable? And I just blurted out, okay, I'll do it. And, but if somebody had said to me the day of the wedding, don't do this, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Was
And
there anybody around? Family, friends?
yeah, my family was there. They loved
But-
him, you know.
So they bought the bill of goods as well.
Oh, absolutely. I met him at a job where he was going to take over as president, and he had them totally
wrapped
buffalo.
around his finger.
Yeah, and they thought, oh wow, you're lucky. He's a great catch, and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. And they, when everything fell apart, they looked in their file to tell me where, oh, his brother, he said his brother got in a car accident.
Ah.
And so we were looking up his emergency contacts, and he had down there that they were all deceased.
Hmm.
And he left a friend's number, which they never got in touch with him. So it was every
Fishy, yeah.
fishy. Yeah. It just, I should have been smarter, I guess, you know.
Well, you were excited. You were hopeful that this was going to be something beautiful and magical, right?
And after we got married, it was the happiest time for me, because we had, you know, the kids. We were 4-5 years into the marriage, and it was wonderful. We'd eat dinner, we'd go take the kids in the stroller and walk the
No, were you
neighborhood.
both living in Rhode Island, or this was all in Georgia?
This was in Georgia.
Georgia, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is where you're originally from?
No, I grew up in Jersey.
Oh, in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Did he
Yeah.
bring you to Georgia?
Yes. I was a Jersey girl. And that explains a lot to people, I guess. I had somebody tell
But
me.
yeah, they're usually one step ahead of it all.
Yeah, right?
They could sniff out nonsense way before usually the norm in
I'm
the
a
tri-state
Jersey
area.
girl. Yes.
Right.
They are tough. And I found myself, that's probably what got me through so much, was
the
where I grew up,
resilience.
because
Yeah.
women are tough there. They're the nucleus of the home, and they pretty much run things, I think,
Right.
the females. So that got me through. That strength honestly got me through, because I grew up with that.
Yes, right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that was what else got you through? Like you're saying that the family loved him. So there really was nobody that spotted anything, right? There's nobody that was
No,
noticing anything and
he
saying,
was good at what he did.
something
he
was
was-
like a little awry with all this, huh?
No,
Nobody?
good. He was perfect at it.
Mm.
Perfect at it. He was somebody that anybody who would bring him home, the parents would celebrate, you know. They liked the stability of him for me.
For
You
you.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
And
about his family too? Were you involved with his family, his
no, he
relatives?
told me they were dead.
So the parents, but like, did he have brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, cousins, anybody, anywhere?
No, he had a brother, but he was one of them, you know. It was hard, because she told me later, the mother, she told me that Christmas, he went to France, and Christmas, he was supposed to come home and never did. Well, he came to Georgia to marry me. You know?
He came to Georgia to marry you. That's where he went.
And he was already married.
Now, you
So,
mentioned as far as contacting the other wives too. Did you get a hold of the other wives? And
yes,
did
I
any of those wives also start to figure something out? Were they doing some investigating? Did they end up all,
was. What happened was the
did they all
wife,
find out about each other in the end?
yeah, in the end, we all found out. But uh, the woman that he left to marry from me, um, I couldn't find her. So I contacted her family. And she said, "Oh no, she told us that everything was fine, that it wasn't true, that I had pressed charges and I was crazy, you know." And I said, "No, it is true." And I gave her the numbers of the people she could contact. And that brings me to another point, is that there was this detective. Because he was violent, he did some things that he got away with. One day he shot at me.
Mm.
I was outside and the kids were outside. And he zipped through the neighborhood, and neighbors saw the car, and the police just said, "Oh, it's probably some kids shooting guns."
Like BB guns or something. Yeah.
But the car didn't add up because it was his company car.
This was in Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I just, he did some things. There was a detective that this case bothered for 20 years. This man would find me wherever I lived and called me to tell me where he was and that I was safe.
So
And
he was trying to help you.
yes, he was great. And so I finally got a call from him after 20 years, and he said, "I have some good news and I have some bad news." And he said, "The good news is he's far away from you." And at that point, I didn't care. Come in the room with me for 5 minutes and you won't leave. Right? That's how I felt. And he said, "The bad news is I'm retiring." And he said, "Nobody else will do this."
Ugh.
You know. So I said, "I'm okay. I'm
You're
not
good.
scared anymore." So I was okay. There were times I wish I'd run into him,
What would you have said? And
Where,
did you ever see him again at all
no,
before he passed?
no. A friend of mine saw him. He had stolen his mother's car. And a friend of mine saw him in the neighborhood because she knew him. And she said, "I could have sworn I saw him." Well, I found out later that the mother said that there was all this mileage on her car and she knew he had taken it. And so she did actually see him, and the bad part was he was working in car dealerships, so he could look up my social and find me. And so finally, the Social Security changed my number.
They changed your social security number.
I sent them, I went in there with all the reports and everything about what he did and the shooting incident, and they changed the number because
For your own protection and safety and everything. Yeah. Huh?
They checked the children's social security numbers to make sure he hadn't used them because they couldn't find him with his. And he hadn't, but I didn't think he had access to that anyway. But yeah, there was
Never
like
know these days now with computers and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And working in a car dealership, if you have a social security number,
They know your income, credit, everything. Yeah. Finances.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I remember one Christmas, I called him up and I said, listen, I need money for the children for Christmas. And I said, I know you're not going to catch up your child support, but I'm asking for you to send me some money for them for Christmas. And he pretended somebody was in his office. And I said, don't bother with that. I know nobody's there. And so he said, well, I'll let you know. Well,
Hmm.
how was he going to let me know, to number one? And I knew that he wasn't going to do anything. So I hung up and I immediately called his boss. And his boss said to me, look, I take care of my children. And he said, I knew there was something about him I didn't like. And so he said, he will be gone by the end of the day. And I said, is he owed a paycheck? And he said, yeah, he has one more. If you get the forms to me from child support, I'll make sure he doesn't get it.
Mm.
So that's what I did.
Incredible story, huh? It is like a Lifetime movie. And do you ever look back and say, wow, I actually, I lived this. I'm writing about it, but I lived all of this.
I know. And you know what's funny is I look back because I was going through all this and I realized I went for a job. I had no skills, nothing that I could immediately go and earn money. And so I called Washington and I said, here's your choices. I can either be a burden to you for the rest of my life, or you can educate me to do something. So they sent me to school for 5 years. And the man was nice enough to call me the next day to make sure they overnighted everything. And he was nice enough to check that I got it. And I started school that fall.
That's fantastic, huh? What were you studying?
I studied medical technology, but I really wanted to write. And what was funny, I went to registration one quarter, and my professor from English Comp was handling the registration, and so I said, I don't know. I don't want to get her because she's going to say something to me. And sure enough, I was next in line. And she said to me, she looked at my classes and she said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm feeding my kids. And
Right.
she said to me, you're a writer. You're not a medical technologist. You're a writer. And she so wanted me to pursue that, but I had the kids. And when the Regents came about, I took my Regents test, which is in Georgia. They make sure that you're up on college level.
Yeah.
Continue your classes. So when I wrote the story for Regents, they used mine as an example, and she was so proud of that.
That is fantastic. You have the book there, Love Letters in the Sand. Again, we're talking about these two incredible books here. Again, one of them as a screenplay, and I mentioned to you as well, gang, in when I was welcoming Barbara to the show, she's written several screenplays, one of which is Love Letters in the Sand as well. And I Now Pronounce You Man and Wife was optioned by a television actress, as you mentioned, but had several stars that wanted to fund it for the lead role as well. And there's also Jersey Diamonds, and there's also 18, is it Mila Street?
Yes.
And is it FALASHAS too? That's another.
Yes.
Tell us
Yes.
about some of these other works too that you're that are in your sort of treasure chest of work?
Yeah, Jersey Diamonds. I just love Jersey Diamonds, and I'm sure that eventually people are going to see it. But Jersey Diamonds is about two women who are up there, and their husbands dump them for younger women. Cliche, right? So the difference being that they were millionaires, their husbands, and they had lived in a penthouse and had everything. They didn't know how to do anything themselves. So when they went to court, they lost everything, and they even had to take a bus to, which they never had done before, and they had to move into a slum in New Jersey. And everything is a first for them. They don't know how to use the oven. They don't know how to do laundry. They just, but their solution was find two new millionaires to marry. It wasn't where they reached in themselves and said, well, I'm going to find something I can do or learn something I can do. Their solution was to get married.
Mm. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Yeah. So that's something we'll keep an eye on as well.
It's a comedy.
It's a comedy. Yeah.
You have no limits to what they'll do to meet millionaires. And it's really comical.
To be forced out of your penthouse and end up in a slum,
Yeah.
that has to be. There's got to be comedy worked into that as well. And they've never taken a bus, didn't know how to do their own laundry, like you say. And
and as an example, they want to meet millionaires, so they decide to go on this timeshare trip that they just have to listen to 90 minutes
of the presentation.
Yeah, they go on this trip so that they can meet millionaires and at the resorts, and it's really comical what they do.
Now, is this based on any reality anywhere at all? Or
No.
Notice you answered that right away. No, not at all. No.
No. And
all fiction, folks.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I expect that eventually it'll
That's
make
a great idea.
Yeah.
I could see it, it's
FALASHAS is
FALASHAS. Yeah. Tell us about that one.
I had read an article somewhere, and in this little paragraph was one sentence mentioning the FALASHAS. And I'm like, what is that? And I looked it up. I did research, and I don't know if you know what they are, but they're Ethiopian Jews who, in 1985, Israel and the United States promised this tyrant that they would supply him arms. Do you know the story?
Tell the audience in case they don't know. Yeah.
So they lied to this individual because they didn't want to give weapons to a tyrant. So the Israel and the United States took 33 jets, gutted them, and in one night took out like 14,000 of these Ethiopians that were scheduled for execution. So I wanted to write a screenplay on that, but we couldn't find the information of the people who did the airlifts. So what we did was I contacted the World Jewish Congress, and they helped me, but they said they couldn't find anything either. Either somebody was deceased or whatever. But so I wrote it fictional about 200 that were left behind, and they needed somebody to pick them up in Ethiopia to save their lives,
Mm.
and nobody would help them. So this one Ethiopian goes to two irresponsible flight instructors from America in Israel, and they talk him into stealing four planes that are in no shape to go anywhere off the airfield.
Mm.
And then they have the problem of pilots. So they said, we're a flight school, we have students. So they convinced four students to make this trip, and it's really
Wow.
getting there. It's an edge of the seat kind of thing.
What? Yeah. What inspired you to write that one?
I don't know. It's just hit me. You know how you'll get an idea and you just like run with it.
It's like an aha moment.
Yeah, what can I do with that?
Right.
That's what I do. I find something and I'll run with it. I'll make a story. So
That's cool.
yeah, I think it's going to make a great movie one day. And 18 Miler is about the 3 final days of the Warsaw Ghetto when they were doing the final solution, and they decide they're going to fight to stay alive.
Yeah.
They knew that this was not something they could win, but some do, you know, and it's a gut-wrenching story. I actually wrote it with a very dear friend of mine who's a lawyer, Tony Locasio. He co-wrote it with me, and it's a great story. He's a phenomenal writer, and he came up with a lot of good stuff for 18
Did he?
months. Yeah.
That's great, huh? It's always good to have somebody else that sort of believes in what your
Yeah.
vision is and wants to help with it.
Yeah.
Did you want to share the passage from Love Letters in the Sand while you have it there, while she went through all that trouble to
Should I just
sneak
open it
in
up?
and get it? She'll be like, you made me come in and get it, and you didn't read that passage?
I know. What am I going to read? Like, I'm trying to find something good just quickly. This is, wait, you know what? There was a thing in the church for Christmas. I gave him, he loved the song Love Letters in the Sand, and that's why it's named that way. So for Christmas, I got him the Papoon cassette of Love Letters in the Sand.
Yeah, the original singer, right?
Yeah, he was just like, you gave him a house, you know? And that was his absolute, he always sang it. And so he plays it on the CD, you know, the cassette thing. And he just like, he wanted to dance. And, oh, wait a minute, I don't know what that's doing. Yep.
Is your computer doing something strange?
Yeah, I got it.
It sounds like a coffee pot percolating.
Yeah. So I did come out of everything. So he wanted to dance. He hadn't danced in 50 years. So there we were in the church dancing.
Yeah, you are dancing.
Now I'm letting the cat out.
That's
of the
great, huh?
Yeah, it meant little things like that meant something to him, you know. And it's a beautiful story because there were a lot of firsts for him, and the way he saw things was kind of like shameful for us because he appreciated nature because he lived in it for 35 years. And there were like a lot of other things. One night he cooked everybody in the church for dinner, and several people for dinner. It was, and that's the first time he did that.
So we want to make sure that we got that right. So he didn't cook them for dinner. He cooked dinner for them. Because then you're thinking of like, were you doing this in Salem, Massachusetts?
No.
Where is this actually located? He cooked them for dinner, and they hadn't done that before, Jim.
No.
I'm a deep listener. I think she means he cooked dinner for them. These days, the way the world is now, if you said, the only part people would remember is she said that at the church, he cooked them for dinner. That's the part that would be the headline. Yeah. No. He was gracious enough to cook them dinner, dinner for them.
About 10 people, and the church had a kitchen, and he made dinner for about 10 people. And that was the first for him.
Yeah, that's nice.
So he had, no, we didn't cook people. He went through a lot just living in the woods. It's incredible.
Yeah.
He said there was one hurricane that he actually had to hold on to a tree, and he was blowing in it.
With the tree bending. Okay. Is he still around, or is he gone?
No, he's deceased.
He's gone too.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if he wrote a book, or if his story was told?
Yeah,
it's like a Grizzly Adams type story, or Daniel Boone.
He had been drinking so many years that he got wet brain, and he didn't understand why his sight was going, but it was because of the alcohol. He thought his glasses were no good, and we took him.
And he had to up the prescription.
Up the prescription. And the doctor, I took him for the appointments, and the doctor said, he's eventually going to be blind.
That's catching up with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you want to read from the book that you have?
You're dying to have me read something.
Well, we put her through the work of coming in that room like that.
No, right? That's true. Let's see. Oh, when he came to the church.
And again, we're talking Love Letters in the Sand, right? Is that the one you're?
Yeah. I wouldn't pay to get the right book.
Because we figure with this one too, man and wife, that the church would be involved in that as well.
There was another person that needed help. She had turned state's evidence, and they couldn't take her into a program right away. So I took her into my house, and with some very strict rules, but I feel it saved her. She eventually got visitation back with her daughter, and but I'll read that. I just opened up the book, and that's the thing I came to. Deanna ran down the hall, scolding herself again for being late for work. Billy Brown walked out of the supply room, then watched with obvious amusement as Deanna threw her stuff on her side of the unit desk. Billy was a 48-year-old Black woman who was the head nurse, sharing the shift with Deanna that night. Deanna sighed a big sigh of relief when she realized Billy would be the one working with her that night. "Don't worry, sweetie, you're on with me tonight, and I don't care how late you are, as long as you show up," Billy said, smiling. "Thank God you're on with me tonight, Billy," Deanna responded. "I don't understand why I can't get anywhere on time." "I don't know, girl. There must be a group for you somewhere," she answered, grinning. Billy and Deanna had become good friends during the 4 months Deanna had worked at the center. Billy shared the same level of commitment to the patients as Deanna, and they shared the same work ethic. Anything going on? Deanna asked, more relaxed. Billy wrinkled her nose. Well, we kind of got ourselves a little problem, she replied. Deanna immediately looked concerned. That statement usually meant someone at the center was in trouble. Oh, what? She asked. You know that little girl, Andrea? She asked, the one that been here 3 weeks already. Deanna didn't like the sound of things. Yes. Well, her time's going to be up in 5 days and she don't have nowhere to go, Billy replied, looking pitifully at Deanna over her bifocals. Isn't she scheduled to go to Clean Living? Deanna asked. Uh-huh, Billy rumbled, but they can't take her for 3 more months. My God, Deanna gasped. She turned state evidence. She'll be killed if she returns to the streets. Deanna was outraged. It disgusted her the way the authorities used New Start patients for information by offering them a deal. Then once they got the information they needed, they failed to keep the informants safe. If Andrea were to be released without a safe and unknown place to stay, she would have no choice but to return to the only place she was familiar with, the streets. Most likely, she would immediately become missing, never to be found again. That was the punishment for naming names. There was no loyalty among addicts, no friendship more important than the next fix. The people Andrea thought were her friends would betray her in exchange for a $20 cube of crack. And she would be murdered as a lesson to other addicts that might consider turning state's evidence. Any ideas? Billy asked, staring at her friend as if she didn't have one herself. Deanna hesitated before answering her, knowing what Billy was suggesting. After all, that was the third time this same situation had occurred during the time that Deanna had worked at the center, and Billy had been her accomplice each time. All right, I'll go talk to her. Let me see where she's coming from before I make any promises, Deanna said. Billy smiled at Deanna as she put down the chart she'd been working on. I thought you might be doing that, so I told her to go ahead and wait in the conference room till someone could join her there. Deanna just stared at her with disbelief. You know, just in case someone wanted to talk to her, Billy added, looking like a guilty child. Deanna walked towards the conference room, then stopped. She turned around to face Billy. You are so wicked, she said. I know, that's what keeps us such good friends, Billy responded. You do know that if I get caught at this one more time, I'll be fired, Deanna asked her. Billy just shrugged her shoulders. And just so you know, if that happens, I'm packing up my 2 kids and moving in with you. Anytime, girlfriend, Billy said, smiling. Anytime. Deanna continued down the hall, then shouted behind her, That means my cat, too. Ooh, I don't know about that furry thing, she replied, shaking her head.
That's great. I don't know about that thing, furry thing shaking her. The poor cat. The cat doesn't even know what's going on.
I know.
I stay gang, and if you want to know more, you got to get the book. I know the books. I've seen them on Amazon, so I know that they are on Amazon as well. And there's also an email where you can order the books as well. This email here, Kate at kmctagency.com, is another place where you can also order the books and find out more about the books as well. Again, they're at that address. And also, again, if you look on Amazon, you can see them on Amazon as well. This is really an extraordinary story. Just everything that we've been talking about, and some of these stories sort of weave in and out of each other in a certain way. Do you see yourself continuing to write? Is this writing bug in you, and you have more books on the offing already and screenplays already up here that you want to share with all of the world?
Oh, I'll never stop writing. I'll be 10 days deceased before I stop writing. I just love it. It's my passion.
I want to see how you do that.
I
You said, I'll be 10 days
A long
deceased
pen.
before I stop writing.
I know.
That would really be a Jim Master Show exclusive.
Yeah. I know.
Do you prefer comedy? Do you prefer drama? What comes to
I love it.
you
I love
first?
I love it all, but I kind of have a thing in my heart for comedy.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's a need for good comedy, good clean comedy.
There is absolutely, absolutely. I mentioned that writing these books is therapeutic. I Now Pronounce You Man and Wife is loosely based on real life events in your life, and then of course, Love Letters in the Sand is a wonderful book as well. These are really incredible. When you look at all of this, what are some of those continued? And I say this, blessings and joys, in your world that keep you writing. And our buddy Chris is here. He says, "Thank you, Jim, for having my dear sister on your show. I owe you big time." Oh, Chris, thank you very much,
I
my friend.
love him.
He's a great friend and also a big fan of our show. He was a guest. We had him as a guest talking about his beloved dad
Yeah.
and the whole gang. And he's just been he's a good guy, isn't he?
He's
Just really a good, solid guy.
Yeah.
When he believes in something, he's all in. And I love that because I'm that way too.
He has nothing but sweet energy.
Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yes. And
Great guy.
with all that you've experienced in your life, that's very refreshing, isn't it? No hidden agendas or anything. Just he's the real deal. As are you, Barbara Grace English. This has really been an extraordinary conversation. What would you say? I'll ask this as a two-parter. First, what would you say to somebody who might be in a situation like you were in and you did get out of and were able to write about it loosely in the fictional form, but still it's based on, true events happening to you personally. And it's in a riveting book. And I read it from cover to cover. I have it here and I appreciate your sending it. And it's a page turner, gang. I Now Pronounce You Man and Wife. Both are page turners. All of her work is, but that particular one that she's talking about is a real page turner. And nothing was given away tonight either. She just gave you little teasers about what they're about. But, when you really look at it, what would you say to somebody right now who's trapped in a similar situation and is seeing you here today, whether they're watching live or they watch this episode 2 years from now, and they're like, "Oh my God, look, here she is. She's here. She's okay. And the kids are fine. And life is okay. And she got through it and out of it and was able to write about it." What would you say to somebody who's trapped in a similar situation right now, who's watching this, aside from get the book, of course, because they can be inspired? What would you say directly to?
I think my first words would be get out. I don't care how you have to do it, but get out. I know I spoke at a domestic violence group, and this woman said, "I can't leave because I have children." And I said, that the fact that you have children is the very reason why you need to get out. And somehow you'll make it work because you're a mother. And that is a driving force for women to protect their children.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yes.
You can't let a child grow up with that in their home because it becomes normal to them. And when it becomes normal, then they're not going to think anything of it when they're in that situation.
They follow what they learn. Yeah. And then they end up maybe doing something similar.
Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely. I think women repeat themselves too. Like they'll leave and find somebody just like that. It's,
Yes.
you have to heal and you have to set the example for your kids not to get in that situation, that if they do that, they need to leave.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
I told both the girls, I said, I don't care, get an education. And at the end of that education, if you decide that you want to bake cupcakes and change diapers, at least you'll have choices.
Choices, right?
Yeah. And when you're in that situation, you feel like you don't have choices. You feel like you're never
Trapped.
going to get out. Yeah.
Yeah, that you're trapped. Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Well, I tell you, you're an inspiration too. I mean, I'm sure that our viewing audience watching around the world live and those who will watch the Jim Master Show live episode later on, probably this has gone beyond what they anticipated. They just figured, oh, she has these two books. We're going to talk about the books and maybe we'll get them. But we've gone a little bit deeper than that on this episode today. And it was really, really cool and riveting and eye-opening, to say the least. And thanks so much for sharing your story and taking the time to come on with us. And there's somebody here that likes to pop in towards the latter part of the show. Mr. George Burns is here. He is here, and he always pops in. And he said you knocked it out of the park, and you
Oh,
are
dear.
a very resilient person and an inspiration and a terrific writer. And he just loved our conversation, and he wishes you all the best. Love from George Burns himself, huh?
I know. Don't you miss that show? And
Oh, I was going to say, how do you top that, huh? George and
I know.
Gracie, talk about a relationship, huh? Hmm. So
That's good.
I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, Barbara, and that you enjoyed, the time with me and all of our viewers who have been commenting throughout as well. And I hope the show, you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, and that the show met whatever expectations you might have had.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to discuss my work so much. It's you work so hard at a project, and whenever somebody wants to know about it, I'm on it.
I'm on it. You got it.
Yeah. It takes you too long to write a project and make it right. And I just thank you for letting me share it.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. Absolutely. And we will keep, the porch light on for you, and we will welcome you back. I just congratulate you on the two books and everything else that you're working on, some of what we talked about tonight as well, in addition to these works. And really, really fantastic and very exciting. Barbara Grace English joining us here on the Jim Masters Show live again. Amazon, you can find the books as well, but also there is that website or address that you can contact as well to find out more about the books and everything else. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, give us a thumbs up on our YouTube channel on this episode. And don't forget to subscribe to this show and the channel. The channel is Jim Masters TV, and the show is the Jim Masters Show live entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series. And give us a nice thumbs up like. You see a thumbs up icon there if you enjoyed this episode and all the episodes. Barbara, we've done over 700 shows in less than 2 years' time. Could you imagine that? Live just about
Wow.
7 days a week.
Uh,
That's a lot of levity. That's a lot of
yes,
talking.
yes.
A lot of good conversations. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of Really fantastic words. And thanks to all of our viewers and our lovities watching, and all the great comments coming in here that we see, and everybody. And don't forget, you can always do super thanks on our YouTube channel, a little heart icon there that helps support everything that we're doing here, and super emojis, super stickers, all that fun stuff during the show. But Barbara, thank you very much. And hopefully we'll meet one of these days and maybe have a bowl of clam chowder or lobster roll, right? Yes, a Southern New England lobster roll. You are fantastic. Best of luck. Thanks for gracing us with your presence.
Jim.
Oh, you're very welcome. Spread the word about the Jim Masters Show Live. We would love for you to do that. Tell other folks. And if you know of other folks you think would like to pop on as a guest as well. And Chris Corman was here. He was enjoying it, and all of our viewers enjoying it. And we thank everybody for being with us. You be well, you keep well, you stay well, and we'll chat again soon. Okay, Barbara?
Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome. And this episode will be archived on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. So you can share that YouTube link on social media and everywhere else in case anybody wasn't with us when it was live and they want to see it later on. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You be well. You take care. And thanks again for being with us. It was terrific.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Barbara Grace English gracing us with her presence here on the Jim Masters Show Live, Entertainment Lifestyle Variety Talk Show series. Thank you for being with us as well, everybody. Again, there are the two books on your screen, Love Letters in the Sand, and I Now Pronounce You, Man and Wife, from award-winning author and screenwriter Barbara Grace English, joining us here on the Jim Masters Show. Yes, here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Really, really fantastic. Tomorrow, guess what? We've got another incredible author of the Apocalypse Game series. Try to say that 5 times fast. This is a series of books and more. DC Smith is going to be here. He's incredible. We're going to have a great time with him. That's tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then on Thursday, we have an abbreviated week. Of course, the 4th of July holiday was here. Incognita's Infamous Adventures. We have the entire cast and crew of this new musical and web series that's all the rage. Incognita's Infamous Adventures. They are going to be here. The entire cast and crew are going to be here. They love our show so much. They watch. They love our series. They asked to come on the show. They said, we want to come on your show. We love the vibe. We love what you're doing. And that is cool. So they're going to be here on Thursday, the entire cast and crew. That's going to be absolutely awesome. And we cannot wait. That's going to be really, really lots of fun. So look for these guests and so much more. You can always check out our YouTube channel to see who's coming up. There are other guests that are coming up as well. And you can see some of them on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Just scroll along. We thank Barbara Grace English. We thank all of you for joining us here on the show. Hope you're doing well wherever you're watching around the world. We always appreciate you being here. Don't forget to spread the word, share the levity, tell everybody about our series, share these links. There's a little share button on our YouTube channel under every episode. Click share it on your social media. All these episodes, we really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Joan and Kathleen and everybody who's been commenting throughout as well. And again, we appreciate all of you. And okay, go eat dinner, get to bed, whatever time zone you happen to be in. Yeah, because our viewers are from all around the world and watch all different times. Some watch when we're live, some watch this in the morning, noon, evening, late night, whenever you're watching. It's so good to have you here, whether you're watching live or you're watching this later. We thank you very, very much for being with us. So this is your host, Jim Masters, thanking all of you for being with us here on the Jim Masters Show. Tell everybody about our series. Check out the other 700 plus episodes with amazing guests from all walks of life: Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, comedy, culinary arts, sports, inspiration, life in general. We thank Barbara Grace English. And we thank all of you for being with us. Take care, be well. We don't say goodbye. We say see you later. Ciao, cheers, shalom, arvida zain, hasta la vista, moi loop. Take care, be well. And don't forget to be good to one another. Gang, be good to one another, love one another. And of course, make sure that you take care of yourself. Be good to yourself. You know, if you're somebody who's always caring for everybody else, make sure you take time for you and breathe and relax, 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 relax. Thanks, gang, everybody. We appreciate you all the time. This is a very special place we call Lovelady Hall, the Jim Masters Show Live, and we're doing something special, and we built something really cool here 2 years ago, and we're still going at it. So nice to have you here, and all the new folks who've joined us. Anybody new who's watching live and commenting, or just watching quietly, or will watch this later, we thank you for being here as well. We'd love it if you leave a comment on our YouTube channel. Drop a comment. Let us know what you enjoyed about this episode, or any of the episodes that you watch and you enjoy. That means a lot to us. It helps our show grow when you do leave a comment and you do click thumbs up on our YouTube channel. Good stuff. All right, gang. We love you all. Thanks for being with us. Lots of great guests coming up. We appreciate you all as well. Cheers.